I have known Andrew since I think he was a teenager. I'm honored to be godfather to one of he and Jill's kids. I want to tell you as a personal testimony that I have never met anybody in Canadian public life who has deeper integrity, ethics, principles, who has a generosity of spirit, who is animated in his political service for all, he is motivated by all of the right reasons. This is a man of profound and decency and real integrity with true Western common sense, who I truly believe would make and will make a great Canadian Prime Minister. Please join with me in welcoming our leader, the next Prime Minister of Canada, the man who will get our country back on track, the Honourable Andrew Scheer.
Wow. Merci beaucoup. What a great welcome. Thank you so much. This is so fun to say. Thank you so much, Premier Jason Kenney. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. You know, the last time Jason and I shared a stage, it was snowing in April on the back of a pickup truck in the last few days of this provincial election campaign. And I was so thrilled to be able to show our support as the Federal Conservative Party, knowing that the first step, the first piece of the puzzle to get Alberta and Western Canada back on track was electing Jason Kenney as Premier of this province. And I can tell you, getting off the plane today, coming into Calgary, there's definitely a different spirit in the air. And I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge my former Premier, Brad Wall, who's in the crowd. And the reason, there he is. Because we in Saskatchewan know what it's like. We know what it's like when the NDP are in power. We know what it's like when the NDP impose job-killing, prosperity-sapping, spirit-destroying policies that drive out hope and opportunity. And we know what it's like the morning after. The morning after voters elect a common-sense government that puts people first and gets the people of this wonderful province back to work. And that is exactly the spirit I feel all across Calgary and all across Alberta. And I'm just so honored to be here. And I'm honored to be here and happy to be here with you because I'm so excited to discuss a better and brighter future for this great province and our great country. Because Alberta has been through some tough times the last few years. I think that might be an understatement. And what makes it so tough is that just when Albertans think they've seen the worst of it, just when there starts to be a glimmer of hope around the corner, along comes Justin Trudeau to kick you while you're down. Along comes the bills like C-69, the No More Pipelines bill. Bill C-48, the anti-oil shipping ban, crippling the industry that drives this province. That's why he travels the world and tells international audiences that he can't shut down the oil sands fast enough while energy companies here in Alberta downsize, or even worse, go out of business. Well, I'm here to tell you, to tell Calgary, to tell Alberta, you deserve better. You will get better come this October. Because this October, A new conservative government will be elected that is proud of our natural resources, that recognize that what makes Alberta great, what makes this country great, is when every aspect of our economy is firing together, and a government that will finally help get you back to work. So despite these tough times, despite being abandoned by your own government, despite being attacked by your own government, remember this today. Hope is on the horizon, and Alberta always comes back. That strong Alberta resilience and spirit means that this province always bounces back stronger and better than ever before. Now, under Justin Trudeau, Canada has changed, and not for the better. The Canada I know and love isn't supposed to be one where Canadians feel like their dreams are on hold, where they feel like it is all they can do just to barely get by and never really feeling like they're getting ahead. That the goals that they have for themselves and for their children are slipping a little further away day after day. And it hasn't been just here in Alberta. Across this country, that's what I'm hearing. Coast to coast, Canadians are anxious and they're frustrated. They're doing everything right, but they're still not getting ahead. I was door knocking just the other day in Penticton in British Columbia with our fantastic candidate. And a lovely lady, she told me she was about 80 years old. She pulled the car over and she stopped and she came out of the car and she became very emotional. She came up and she gave me a big hug. And she said, "Andrew, I want to tell you a story. My son is 52 years old. He lives in Calgary with his 3 sons. He's been unemployed for 3 years now. And I've had to sell my home and downsize so that I can support him get through this tough time." That is the sense of concern that is spreading all across this country. And I'm here to tell you that those stories, like that woman in Penticton, it is resonating across the country. That is precisely the woman, those are precisely the people that your members of parliament here, your conservative representatives at the federal level, are fighting for each and every day to get them back to work. Because life shouldn't be this hard for people who work hard and who do good, who do the right things. It shouldn't be this hard for people who are productive and responsible and law-abiding. Canada should be a country that rewards hard work, where no ambition is too big and where no dream is out of reach. And that is what conservatism is all about. Getting government out of the way so the natural human instinct to strive and achieve can propel us all forward into a brighter, more prosperous future. Now, there is a way to turn this around, to get Canada back to being a country where hard work and a dream were enough to succeed. But the answer isn't more government. The answer is you. It is Canadians. You see, that is the big difference between Liberals and Conservatives. Liberals believe that government creates prosperity and opportunity, that government drives innovation and human progress. But Conservatives know that it is Canadians who have the greatest ability to unleash prosperity, to drive our economy, and to solve the problems we face as a country. I'm often asked how to sum up what the biggest difference between Liberals and Conservatives would be. And it's often pretty tough. You know, there's so many things we could talk about, so many things we could say that makes us different from Liberals. But the easiest way to sum it up, I believe, is this. Liberals put their faith in government. Conservatives put our faith in the people of this wonderful country. And governments always look for excuses, while people look for opportunities. And I don't know about you, but I am getting tired of Justin Trudeau's excuses for his own failures. Excuses for why we can't build a pipeline in this country. Excuses for why Canada's trading relationships are falling apart and our exports are trapped. and excuses for why people are falling further and further behind despite doing everything by the book. My Canada does not excuse government failure. My Canada holds that failure accountable. Especially when it's Trudeau who's responsible for all those failures. When it's Justin Trudeau who vetoed Northern Gateway and killed the Energy East pipeline. When he's the one who was pushed around by Donald Trump, taking concession after concession and coming back to Canada with a worse trade deal than what he left with. And he's the one who's responsible for life getting more expensive with bigger deficits, higher debt, and more taxes. My Canada creates its own opportunity. It forges its own path, amidst uncertainty and against long odds, but it harnesses the power and potential of our people to promote prosperity and lift people out of poverty. Under Justin Trudeau, Canada is becoming a country of no. No to big nation-building projects that unite the country. No to standing up for Canada on the world stage against those who do us harm. And no to hardworking entrepreneurs who only want to grow and create opportunity. Now, while Justin Trudeau says no, Conservatives will build a country of yes. Yes to more responsible, world-leading resource development. Yes to more pipelines and LNG investment. Yes to a cleaner environment with Canadian-made technology driving down emissions all over the world. Yes to freer trade and stronger ties between different regions of this country. And yes to less of your money going into government coffers and more money left in your pockets. And yes to being a country where we can rally together to seize the future and define it on our own terms. Now, nothing more clearly illustrates this idea than our new proposal for a new national energy corridor. A coast-to-coast corridor that would move Canadian oil, gas, hydroelectricity, telecommunications, and potentially anything else that runs along the ground. Planned up front and in full consultation with provinces and Indigenous Canadians who would all share in the prosperity that it would provide. This is what it means to be a country of yes. See, I believe in our natural resources. I am proud of all that Alberta has to offer, not just the world, but all Canadians. And in the natural resources that have blessed this province, and not just in their power to create opportunity, but their power to bring Canadians together from right across this country. And I believe a national energy corridor can do for Canada what the Canadian Pacific Railway did in the days of Sir John A. Macdonald and what the St. Lawrence Seaway has done for this country. John A. Macdonald, whose vision of a united cross-country, cross-continental nation was brought to life with 4,700 kilometers of wood and steel between Montreal to Port Moody, BC. Because we are a sprawling nation whose people at important moments in our history have been brought together by big ideas and big projects. Never forget, ladies and gentlemen, that we are trailblazers. As a nation, it's part of our DNA. It's tough to make it in this part of North America. We've got to work a little bit harder. We've got to innovate a little bit more, get up a little bit earlier in the day. But we've been doing that for generations. And I think it only fitting that Canada, which only exists today because our founders had an idea as big as the continent itself, summons that spirit once again. Now, there are some who would have us believe that the world simply doesn't need Canadian resources anymore. Nothing could be further from the truth. The world needs what Alberta and Western Canada has. Even the most conservative estimates don't have global demand for oil and gas peaking until at least 2030, and many other experts saying it'll be beyond 2040. So we, as a nation, have a choice to make. We can either sit on the sidelines and watch as oil-rich, oppressive regimes in South America and the Middle East meet that global demand. Or we can step up, we can compete, and we can supply the world with ethical and responsible Canadian energy, and in doing so, create opportunity and prosperity right across the country. Now, Justin Trudeau has made his choice. He wants to shut down the energy sector. He said so himself in 2017. He expressed his frustration that he couldn't do it fast enough. So he would rather countries like Iran, Venezuela, and Saudi Arabia, countries that starve and execute their own citizens while doing nothing to protect the environment, meet that global demand. And he would rather the United States fill the void in the North American market, handing over investment and jobs that should be ours to our biggest economic competitor. I would make a very different choice. I will be a champion for Canada's energy sector and be proud to promote it all around the world. Now, in addition to the National Energy Corridor, we have proposed a common sense plan to get pipelines built in the short term. And it's a comprehensive plan that speaks to asserting the federal government's responsibility over projects that are in the national interest, in making sure that Indigenous consultations are done right up front the first time, and cleaning up our approval system. I understand that there are Canadians in this country with a different point of view, and they are free to express themselves. I'm proud that we live in a country where you have that freedom of expression. And I have no problem with Canadians having that conversation, having those debates among ourselves. But I do not believe that foreign-funded activist groups should be able to use our approvals process to stop these important nation-building projects, and that is why I will ban foreign-funded groups from participating in pipeline approval projects in this country. The fact is that Canada has more than enough oil to not only displace imports from oppressive and corrupt regimes, but to put an end to foreign imports once and for all. And I know Premier Higgs is attending the Stampede this weekend. Premier Higgs and I have had a lot of conversations about this because you see in New Brunswick, there's a really big refinery that supports Eastern Canada. And a huge percentage of their feedstock comes from other countries, most notably Saudi Arabia. And Premier Higgs attended a huge rally in Saskatchewan to show support for our energy sector. And I'm going to give him full credit, it was his line. He said, not only does the world need more Canadian energy, but Canada needs more Canadian energy. And I believe in that Canada fueled by Canadians and only by Canadians, where the energy produced here in Alberta and Saskatchewan would create opportunities all over the country and instill Canadians with a stronger sense of unity than ever before. Because I believe that unity is the key to our prosperity. Our country must be strong, our federation must be strong for Canadians to succeed. But that is under threat, because Justin Trudeau is the most divisive prime minister this country has ever seen. Pitting province against province, region against region, and industries against each other, while picking fights with premiers because he thinks it might score him some votes. Well, as prime minister, I will change that. Because I understand that the Prime Minister's job is to champion the whole country and every economic engine that puts people to work and supports Canadian families. To promote all regions, to stand up for every industry that drives the economy, and to strengthen the ties that hold this country together. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a part of my positive conservative vision for Canada. And this country has never needed that vision more than it does right now. Throughout our history, every generation has grown up with the belief that it will be better off than the one that came before it. And throughout our history, that has most often been the case. But for the first time in a long time, that principle is under threat. And you know, Justin Trudeau loves to fly around telling us that we've never had it so good. But that's not what I hear. There is real anxiety out there. Too many Canadians feel left behind, that economic freedom is beyond their reach. I'm talking about the kind of life Canadians will be able to build, about reaching their goals and accomplishing what they set out to do. Canada should be a place where no dream is out of reach. That's the Canada I want. But under Justin Trudeau, it's not the Canada we have right now. There is a cost of living crunch in Canada. And it doesn't matter if I'm in Calgary or Kitchener or Cape Breton. I hear it all the time. And if there's one thing this election is going to be about, it's this. Who do you trust to help you get ahead? Under Justin Trudeau, 2/3 of Canadians either feel they can't pay their bills or feel they have nothing left over after they do. Under Trudeau, almost half of all Canadians report being overwhelmed by their debts. And 4 out of 5 middle-income Canadians are paying more taxes to the federal government. And if he's re-elected, those taxes will just go up. If he's given another 4 years, everything from the gasoline you put in your car to the food you put on your table to the taxes you pay to Ottawa, all of that will cost you more. Now, how do we know this? Because he's already done it. More than 80% of middle-income families are paying $800 more in taxes every year since he came to power. He's hiked taxes on small business owners, and he's ended tax credits that made things like kids' activities and dance lessons and bus passes more affordable. And we've caught him trying to raise other taxes. He tried to tax health and dental benefits for Canadian workers. He even tried to tax employee discounts. He tried to scrap the disability tax credit for diabetics. Now, thankfully, Conservatives caught him trying to do all of this, and we were able to stop him. But make no mistake, he'll bring all of those tax hikes back once he's re-elected, when he won't need your vote anymore, but he'll still need your money. Now, my approach is different, and I've already announced a number of steps that a Conservative government will take to leave more money in Canadians' pockets. First off, just like it was here in Alberta, job one for me will be to repeal the carbon tax. Trudeau's signature policy is nothing more than a tax grab, giving big, massive breaks to big polluters while making Canadians pay more to fill their tanks and heat their homes. But I'm not going to stop there. In this country, the GST and HST is not collected on what are deemed necessities. You don't pay GST on your most groceries, and you don't pay it on your pharmaceuticals either. Well, I believe that heating your home in Canada in the winter is not a luxury, it's a necessity. That's why we will remove the GST from home energy bills. And I'll make parental benefits tax-free, so hard-working moms and dads who stay home during those critical early months aren't punished more for doing so. These are the kinds of money-saving measures you can expect and more in our platform later this year. Because I believe that $1 in the hands of the person who earned it is always better spent than in the hands of a politician who taxed it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am an eternal optimist. In fact, one of the things, and my colleagues might be able to attest to this, one of the things I hear most from people who like to tell me sometimes how to do my job is that I smile too much. Has anyone ever heard that before? It is true. I do smile a lot. But it's hard not to smile. It's hard not to smile when you've got a great group of hard-working MPs that are holding this Liberal government to account and exposing the lies they tell and the damage of their policies. It's hard not to smile when our grassroots supporters keep coming out, keeping our party, our candidates going, ensuring that we are able to fight the next election on an even ground with the Liberals. It's hard not to smile because I continue to believe that Canada's best days lie ahead, where hope and opportunity will be in reach of those who seek it. Where a kid who grew up in a townhouse in a family that didn't own a car, whose grandparents lived in a 2-room house with 9 children on a dirt road in Mississauga, can stand here today running to be the next Prime Minister of this wonderful country. Canada was that place for me and for my family, and I want it to be that place for everyone. But we'll only get there by changing course this fall. We have to leave behind Trudeau's Canada, a Canada of small dreams, fewer opportunities, and more money in your pockets. And we must embrace a positive, united vision for Canada where all Canadians can take part in our success. Where government leaves more money in your pockets so the dreams and goals you've set for yourself get closer and closer. And where Canadians can get by, where Canadians can get ahead and not just get by. Now, as I said just a few moments ago, Justin Trudeau likes to go around Canada telling Canadians that everything is going just great. And perhaps in his world, it is. He's never had to deal with the consequences of bad government policy that makes it harder to make ends meet. He doesn't have to worry about $2 a liter gas or rising interest rates or saving for retirement. And the people in Trudeau's world have never had it so good. Just ask Loblaws, a billion-dollar company owned by a billionaire family that just got a multi-million-dollar handout to buy new fridges. Ask all the major companies who have the Prime Minister's office on speed dial, lining up for the next round of corporate welfare and political favors. But the government shouldn't be for their friends and who are already doing well. I'm here. We're all here for the people who just need a break. The people who are doing everything right, getting an education, getting a good job, working hard, paying their bills on time, but who still can't seem to get ahead in life. The parents who sat around the dinner table, like mine often did, crunching the numbers to figure out how they're going to make it to the end of the month. That's who I'm fighting for, and that's who a new Conservative government this fall will govern for. Not for the wealthy and the well-connected, but for the striving, the hardworking, and the self-sacrificing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set. The choice is clear. Between a prime minister that will tear us down and one who will build us up. Where Trudeau will landlock Alberta's natural resources, I will unleash them and champion them. Where he will travel around the world and apologize for what Alberta does, I will travel the world to promote it. Where he will use the powers of his office to reward his friends and punish his enemies, I will uphold the rule of law, bring ethics and integrity back to government, and shine a light on his scandal and corruption. Where he will be bullied. Where he will be bullied and pushed around on the world stage, I will stand up for Canadians and for our interests. Where he will say no to the big dreams and aspirations of Canadians, I will say yes. And where he will cost you more and make your life more expensive, I will run a government that lives within its means, leaves more money in your pockets so that you can get ahead. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my positive Conservative vision for this country, and I cannot wait to take it to Canadians this October. Thank you very much, everyone.